Big welcome to everybody that's joined us live here on Facebook and YouTube as well from the East London Grand Prix circuit on the East Cape of South Africa. Big welcome from Greg Maloney, the voice of choice in the Up to 60 Seconds team. We're going to bring you all of the race action now from the South African GT Racing Association's round number 2 and race 1. Coming into this round, it is Michael Stephen, the man on pole position, who has, of course, the lead of the championship by 2 points over Charles Oranges, the man who lines up alongside him for first and second place on the grid today as they make their way down towards Potters for the first time. And you can see there's going to be a bit of chopping and changing that'll be happening in that first 5 cars, because if you look at the first 5 cars, there was only about half a second splitting those first 5 cars in qualifying. An incredible job from Silvio Scribanti to get up into third place there for the Scribanti Racing Lamborghini. Marcel Angel from Cape Town in his Autohaus Angel 488 Ferrari is up in, of course, 4th place, just ahead of Aldo Scribanti. And then an incredible job yesterday by Zolile Letlaka and Chop Sapuka, who makes a welcome return back into South African motorsport as the teammate to EXO in his Lamborghini from Stradale Motorsport and the Into Africa Mining Group. Sun Mudley from Bigfoot Express Freight, and of course our day's sponsor today, Bigfoot Express Freight and Toys R Us, behind the Buffalo City 700. You can see them making their way down the beach straight now, just trying to get some heat into those Michelin tyres. Michelin, of course, jumping on board with the South African GT Racing Association as their official tyre supplier, and Fast Fuels as the fuel supplier, of course. So a big welcome to them, and a big welcome, of course, to everybody who has now joined us here live from the East London Grand Prix circuit for the first time today on our live stream feed. Hope you're enjoying all the action so far. And as we always say, please like and share this onto all the platforms that you guys might be enjoying as your smart devices or whatever you're using out there. It's definitely going to be something worthwhile watching for the rest of the day's action. Everybody has just joined us. A big welcome to you guys as well on the voice of choice, on ILEB, on Up to 60 Seconds, and on the South African GT Racing Association page, as well as on our South African Endurance Racing page. And of course, a big welcome to all those guys that are here. Brilliant stuff from everybody at this point in time as well as we get ready to go. Brendan's coming in to give me a little bit of heads up. Doesn't look like that mic was on. The one that I was using, it was on perfectly. No, I'm not quite sure what's going down. Let's have a look and see if they can get that PA system. We linked to the PA system as well, so if you do hear a little bit of PA chat in the background, it's because of that. But we're about to go racing now, and Michael Stephen will bring them to the line. Michael Stephen alongside Charles Oranges, McLaren versus Lamborghini. It's Lamborghini versus Ferrari for the second row, and Lamborghini versus McLaren again as they go down towards turn number 1. Potters Pass, the fastest racing corner in the country. And heading down into Potters now. Big turn down into Potters Pass. We've got a little bit of problem with camera 1 at this point in time. We are going to get it sorted out, but we held that shot for as long as we could. Heading down towards Rifle for the first time as well as they head into the thick of it. And that's the shot we can see right now of Cochabana. Turn 3 here at the East London Grand Prix circuit. Cars about to come under braking there. And it's going to be Michael Stephen who leads things out. Championship leader right at the front where he needs to be. Ahead of Charles Oranges. And Silvio Scribanti, by the looks of things, has been outgunned. No, he hasn't. He just tucked in behind there. Just missed him in the background. But Zolile Letlaka, what a start there from him. It's probably Chop Sapuka in the car there at this point in time, I would assume, as they go into this first part of the race. So Sapuka now bringing that Lamborghini of himself and EXO up into a top 4 position. That's the first shot of the new Lamborghini out of Bigfoot Express Freight Racing. That, of course, is Andrew Colbert. He's managed to get ahead of Kishio Patamba in the 458 Ferrari. And looking for a chance to get through now, that 458 all over the back end of that Lamborghini. And I can tell you something, that Hurricane is going to have a lot of work with Kishio Patamba on his tail. Up to the top of the hill and back out of Beacon they come for the first time to cross the line. In anger, it is Michael Stephen who controls things from the front ahead of Oranges. Silvio Scribanti, Chop Sapuka, Marcel Angel, and a good start there from Aldo Scribanti. Then it's Isak Spies. Behind him comes the Bigfoot Express Freight man himself, that is Sun Mudley, and his teammate Andrew Colbert just ahead of Kishio Patamba as they make their way back down towards Potters. We are trying to get turn 1's camera up and running, so apologies for that. But as soon as it is up and running, guys, we will bring you the action that is happening out on the circuit. And the action we've got right now, of course, is just things starting to settle down. Remember, this is an hour endurance race. You can't win an hour endurance race on the first lap, and you're going to be out there for a while. So it's now time to sort of get yourself settled into a nice rhythm. There is a compulsory pit stop that can happen at any time during the race. You have to come in at some point in the race and do a pit stop. So we'll be watching out for those and when those pit stops are going to be taken. If you are doing a driver change, of course the driver will get out the car and the second driver will get in the car. You may refuel that car because it is earthed to the ground while the drivers are doing a driver change. And the cool thing about that as well is if you're not doing a driver change, you still have to get out the car as the driver, just to replicate what a driver change would be for the teams that have got 2 drivers in their cars. And of course there's only one today, and that is Exo and Chop Sapuka sharing what is car 4 on track right now, the 4th placed Into Africa and Stradale Motorsport Lamborghini. Another lap completed by Michael Stephen. Starting to open up a little bit of a gap now over Charles. Charles controlling things over Silvio Scribanti. And it looks like Chop Sapuka trying to close down on Scribanti and find a way through on him. So the 2 Port Elizabeth-based drivers, they're looking for a bit of an in-house battle. Marcel Angel sitting in 5th at the moment. Just maybe hanging tight for a little bit. Maybe he's got a bit of a strategy behind his thinking for the day. Behind that we've got Aldo Scribanti and Isak Spies. Son Moodley at this point in time as well in 8th place, just ahead of his teammate Colbert as they come down onto the braking point for Kokobani. You can see them in the background, but in the foreground now it's just a train of supercars, the GT3 supercars going into gate corner. Arangis from the Marcel Angel Ferrari, that is of course Pablo Clark Racing prepped car there of Marcel Angel, the Autohouse Angel 488. We saw him and his son doing a bit of duties last weekend. Good morning, Emil Tiny Brand is in the house. He's just joined us there. So has Sunette Dantu. Hello, Sunette. Yes, Team Perfect Circle, Sunette Dantu here as well. Kevin Clark, Ian Harwood's in the house too. Nice to see some support out there as well from the Voice of Choices page. Of course, we will be jumping from each of the pages as well. Gary van der Spel will be keeping an eye out on what's happening on ILEB, but we will be chopping and changing with a couple of the comments flying through here as well. So thanks so much for the support. We do appreciate it. Cars going across the line and completing another lap. Isak Spies now, the man to watch out for as he comes across the line. Bigfoot Express Freight's Son Moodley and Andrew Colbert just ahead of Kishore Patamba, the second of the Pablo Clark Racing Ferraris. That's a 458, of course. Morning, Mr. Control. How are you doing, brother? A couple of guys who've joined us early on for race action here at East London Grand Prix Circuit. Remember, we got basically 2 big events happening this weekend, which you can pick up on action from. One is the South African Endurance Series and the South African GT Racing Association that we're watching right now. The other one, of course, is up in Welkom. It's National Motocross, the TRP and Cannabis National Motocross also happening this weekend. Kind of splitting our team a little bit, which is why we are battling a little bit with some of the cameras out there. We've got 2 teams around the country, but of course we will bring you as much of the action as we can in these first couple of sprint races, the hour endurance races, and of course the big 4-hour Buffalo City 700 later on this afternoon here from the East London Grand Prix Circuit. Good morning, Billy. Good to have you here as well. Thanks for your support, bud, as they come to the line again. It's Michael Stephen just controlling things nicely. 19s out of the first 5 cars by the looks of things. Yeah, first 5 cars into the 1 minute 19s at this point in time. And it looks like that's the kind of pace they're going to look to try and stick with for the first part of this race anyway. Remember, as I said, it's Michael Stephen on championship lead after the first round at Desi's Raceway. He's got 2 points over Charles Arangis. Arangis has 3 points over Silvio Scribanti, who in turn has got 5 points over his stablemate Aldo. Son Moodley on 56 points, and of course Zulile Lataka down in 6th place in the championship on 53 points. So it's up to Isak Spies, Kish Patamba and Arnie Neveling to try and make up some ground now in this championship for this second round of the South African GT Racing Association. Brilliant stuff so far, as you can see, putting these Michelin rubber to the test. We had a nice chat yesterday as well for the guys from Fast Fuels as well, explaining to the teams how Fast Fuels is going to come up with solutions to their fueling that are going to make these cars perform at both sea level and up on the Highveld. So it's great to have the support coming not only from a fuel supplier but also from a tyre supplier. Fred Stemmett's in the house as well. Thanks so much for your support, buddy, as we were watching a good little battle here. Change up in the Bigfoot Express Freight team. But how's that? Lambo, Porsche and Ferrari going at it properly out of the S's and up towards Beacon. One of the most picturesque circuits in the world to go racing at, and of course they're not going to have a chance to look at what's happening all around them with the waves breaking in the background, the new hotel being built on the left hand side of the S's there. You can see a little bit of the construction just on that exit point heading out of the S's, and of course now coming across the line, same battle. Looks like Sun might be in a bit of issues here. Just listening to that car as it came across the line, you can hear just in the background of my commentary, But Moodley's Porsche definitely seems to be not firing like it was in its initial part of this race. Might be a bit of an issue that he's picked up there on that Porsche. But the Ferrari of Kish Patamba has now got through on him. We're going back to the front end of the field as we see Marcel Angel there in 5th place, tucked in behind the battle between Chop Sapuka and Silvio Scribanti. There you can see that is Isak Spies. And then in the background, okay, well, Sun seems to have got whatever it is sorted out. He's back ahead of Kishore Patamba in the Ferrari. This is Isak Spies, second of the McLarens on track. WPPS machine out there doing a superb job. And of course, he partnered up with Jade Goodside at the Daisies Raceway this weekend. He's on his own. And of course, the CEO there of the company based and looking after the South African GT Racing Association. Not only, of course, on the sidelines, but here doing an incredible job as one of the race pilots on track as well. Looks like Brent Alberts from Haval Glen has just joined us as well. He'll be happy to see that we've got a Haval Jolion and a P7 Bucky as our official support vehicles for this event, courtesy of Haval Edenvale and Haval South Africa. And thanks for joining us, Brenty. Hope you've had a good day so far, bud. Hope you're selling a lot of those Jolions, because it's a really cool little car that we were given to drive down here. And it seems like that little P7 is also a pretty impressive little machinery for a Bucky from South Africa's point of view. You'll get to see them on a few occasions today, hopefully not as many as we hope, because the idea is to try and keep the cars on track and not get those ones on track to assist with the recovery of vehicles on the sideline. But how tight is this? These first 4 cars absolutely locked together. Gap across the line on the previous pass was 1.2 seconds between those first 4 cars. So you can throw that proverbial blanket right over the first 4. Back 3 as well, not too shabbily spread out there. Culbert's pulled a small margin over Moodley. Moodley seems to be coming back at him though. Whatever that issue is, seems to have got it sorted out. Change up for the lead, and change up possibly for 3rd place down towards turn 1. Charles Ranges is at the front. So Ranges gets through and gets the lead into Potters. But it's Sapuku who has to back out going into Potters Pass ever so slightly and give up that 3rd place again. He was trying to go around the outside of Potters. Now, there's a lot of guys who can go around the outside of Potters, but there's not a lot of guys who make it stick into Potters. We'll get confirmation of, course, as they come down now towards Cochabana. There is confirmation of the Golf and Paget Racing Strudale Motorsport Lamborghini Hurricane ahead now of the Ultimate Outlaws McLaren. Scribanti Concrete Lamborghini Hurricane in 3rd ahead of course, the hard-charging Chop Sapuka. And Sapuka's doing such a good job there to run with these front pack of cars. Remember, Chop Sapuka climbed into this Lamborghini yesterday morning for the very first time and has had basically about half of the sessions of free practice yesterday to get used to it, showing what a multiple talent he is in terms of where he's come from in his career in motorsport. Polo Cup champion was Michael Stephen, also a multiple Polo Cup champion, and his teammate at one point in time, just up the road from him. So good to see them back in anger and fighting hard now in separate teams. Bigfoot Express Freight Man doing a superb job at this point in time, and looking for a chance now to try and close down on his teammate there, Andrew Culbert. Culbert has got through on him and he hasn't been able to bridge that gap, but there seemed to be a little bit of a misfire there on the Porsche for about half a lap. And then whatever it is, I don't know if he's done some adjustments on the steering wheel, which he can do in that car. Maybe Sun just got it to perform a bit better than what it was earlier on. Specie across the line again, still remaining in 7th place, all on his own in fact. And he's not really being troubled by Culbert, Moodley or Patamba at this point in time, although the 3 of them are troubling each other big time. Beat straight and possibilities of changes up into gate corner. No, the 2 Lamborghinis staying behind that McLaren of Michael Stephen. Stephen is probably going to try and make that McLaren as wide as possible, not give any room there to Scribanti or to Chop Sapuka to get through. But I can tell you what might be happening here is Michael Stephen is thinking about the pit stop strategy. He spoke to me this morning as I walked past the pit on my way up to the commentary booth here, and said that he's got a little bit of a plan up his sleeve. So whether this is the plan or not, we'll wait and see. He's let out for about 6 or 7 laps of the first couple of laps that we've had on track. But we'll definitely keep an eye on whether he's going to be changing that strategy up now that he's got through, or Charles Ranges has got through on him. We'll wait and see. Mo Bash is saying that we're getting a little bit anxious there, and Sapuka's doing an excellent job. He is certainly doing an excellent job. This is his first race in anger in probably, I about 10 years. I haven't seen him behind a race car like this in about 10 years of action, so it is great to have the man back. And of course, it's an all-black team that's formed up for the first time as well, for Zolile Latlaka and Chop Sapuka partnering up there for into Africa Mining and Stradale Motorsport in that Lamborghini. Back onto the beach straight again. No issues at this point in time. No challenges yet. There was a little bit of a challenge coming out of Sapuka earlier on, but I think Silvio had him marked and matched as they went into Potter's Pass. And now into the complex we go through gate corner. Tight stuff there between the two Lamborghinis. Certainly a chance there for the Lamborghini of Chop Sapuka to possibly have a go up at Beacon. We may see a change up there between the two Lambos. He's close enough right now to get him up the inside and maybe find a way past. Let's wait and see if that's going to be the case. Head up towards Beacon now. We go back to Isak's piece on the beach straight and watching. Oh, a little running wide there from Colbert. Late on the brakes in the Lambo. Just a little bit too late though. Could have ended up on the beach if he carried on straight. Fortunately he didn't. He carried on the beach straight, which is the right way to go. And come hauling across the line. There you see. Nice manoeuvring through there as they came through for the first time. And a bit of crowd on the side there watching. And of course those are all people involved in the race meeting here at the East London Grand Prix circuit. We've got local modified saloons. We've got local historic category that's racing here today, which Brendan Kelly, my good friend, is going to be taking you through a little bit later on. We've got the 2 rounds of the South African GT Racing Association, and we've got the South African Endurance Series, the Buffalo City 700, the 4-hour endurance coming up a bit later on. So that's where we're going. Onto the beach straight we go again. It's a 5-car train. Aranji's trying to pull a little bit of a margin though. You can see he's got the hammer down ever so slightly. His best lap time so far has been a 1:19.2. We've had 1:19.2s out of Chop Sapuka as well. That's impressive. So matching the Hurricane up front. And very, very evenly matched times as well from those first 5 cars on track. Every single one of them staying within the sort of 1:19 to 1:20 bracket amongst their competitors. Aldo Scramenti we haven't really seen a lot of. There he goes there. One of the first shots we've seen of him. Remember, he's still out there in 6th place, just ahead of his 6th piece. He's usually just in the switchback or the change of camera shot that we would normally see him in, but he's still there in 6th place and running in his Lamborghini Hurricane for the Scramenti Concrete team. Confirmation as it stands right now. You can see it on the left-hand side of your screen. Aranji's from Stephen. Chop Sapuka at the wheel of car 3. Silvio Scramenti, Marcel Angel, Aldo Scramenti, Isak Spies, Andrew Colbert, Kishore Patamba, and Sun Mudli making up those 10 cars on track. Remember that when Chops comes in, he'll be doing a driver change and handing it over to Exo, to Zolile. So Zolile will climb into that car. Have we had a change? We have. Chops is up to 3rd. Chops is up to 3rd place. Going through Rifle or Potters, he must have made a move there and got ahead of Silvio Scramenti, and he's now applying pressure onto Michael Stephen. How many times have we seen this in the past? Chop Sapuka versus Michael Stephen. And usually at the Eastern Cape circuits there was an arch rivalry of note between these two, even though they were teammates for such a long time in the Terry Moss Racing outfit. But Sapuka is all over his ex-teammate and definitely applying the pressure and wanting a way past in a big way here. This is brilliant stuff. It is fantastic to have Chop Sapuka back at the wheel of a proper race car and starting to put the pressure onto the championship leader. Remember, Michael Stephen came into this round with a championship lead of only 2 points ahead of Charles Aranjis. He's seeing Aranjis get away and he's having to watch his rearview mirrors constantly for a chance there coming out of Sapuka to make his day a little bit worse for wear. Sapuka's all over the back of him down towards Potter's Pass. And as soon as we get that camera up and ready, you're going to see just how awesome that shot was. But as we get into Rifle, Sapuka had a big look. I'm just giving you the commentary so that you know what's happening at the front end, even though we're watching Kishore Patamba down the back straightaway. But of course he's about to be caught by this big steam train headed down towards Cochabana. Holding that shot, we'll get to see that steam train on the brakes into Cochabana. There is Aranjis. Michael Stephen has just been able to fend off the attack coming out of Sapuka, but Sapuka is all over the back of that McLaren. That MP412C is going to be in big trouble. He looks on the inside, going to gate. He's going to have a big look. Absolutely brilliant stuff. There is, of course, on my left-hand and right-hand shoulder there is the voice of and the man behind the scenes. There is, of course, a balance of performance weight penalty that gets put onto the top 3 from the last race meeting. So Michael Stevens actually got, top 5, I beg your pardon. Michael Stevens actually got an extra 75 kilos in that car. So he's having to do a little bit extra work than Chop Sapuka at this point in time. And of course, that's probably why he's battling to try and fend off the attack from the slightly lighter car behind him. But when I talk about that balance of performance, I also must mention the fact that the 10 cars, in terms of the BOP, are split by 0.4 of a second. So that is just incredible. To see 10 cars, different manufacturers, different stables, different teams, all split by only 0.4 of a second, that just shows you that this BOP is working. Bigfoot Express Freight Lamborghini of Colbert goes ahead of his teammate and the boss man from Bigfoot Express Freight there, Son Mudley. Great shot there of one of our sponsors for the day. He of course loves the action that happens at his home track here, but of course a big supporter of motorsport in general as well is Son Mudley. Great to have him here, of course, with his full team. And as they get down on the braking point, there was a little bit of tyre smoke there as he got onto the inside on the defensive line. Michael Stephen, I think, is having to defend here a lot more than what he was hoping. With the likes of Silvio Scribanti behind him, he might not have to defend as hard as what he is. But Chop Sapuka has got nothing to lose here. He is going for an opportunity here to score some big points and take away some valuable points from these championship contenders in the South African GT Racing Association. The change will come up, of course. Sapuka will hand to Zolile Letlaka, which is probably why he's trying to get as high up as possible to hand over to Exo to give him an opportunity to stay in that hunt at the front. Onto the back straight comes Aldo. Aldo trying to take out some birds by the looks of things there on the back straight. And then it's actually a little bit of a closer gap from Spicer's point of view. Isak Spicer's closed that gap down now on Aldo Scribanti. Scribanti was about 7 seconds up the road. It's certainly come down a lot more than what it was earlier on. So we'll keep an eye on that gap as well as Aldo goes across the line and see how far back Spicer is. But he was not as far back as what he was earlier on, as you can see, as they come out of the S's there and past the new hotel. Into the pits, first pit stop. This is the I2 and Pablo Clark Racing Ferrari 458. And are we doing a driver change there? Yes, we are. Driver change there as well. Mikhail Patama going to take over from Dad. Kish Patama going to be climbing out the car. So this is the very first time we're going to see some pit lane activity. And it's a good start so far from everybody out there. Difference at this point in time, of course, we're looking at a gap at the front for about 3 seconds between the first 5 cars. It's about 0.003 of a second between second and third place right now because, Sapuka makes a slight mistake. A little mistake there from Chop Sapuka as he tried to go unclip the curve there to find a way through on Michael Stephen, but he just got the nose of that Lambo a little bit squirrely and he was able to just catch it, fortunately. So waiting down in pit lane, you can see a little bit of help there from the Pablo Clark Racing boys to get that car all sorted out. The cool thing is that they do earth that car while they refuel it. You have to replicate a tyre change on the car as well. You'll see on that car particularly, and it's just to give you a mention once again that we are on Michelin tyres. The Michelin tyre sticker is for this race. The Pirelli tyre sticker is for the SA Endurance race. So they are playing around with both tyre options here. But of course they have to run those incredible Michelin slicks for this race meeting, and they're really working well with these cars. It's incredible to see that Michelin have come back on board to be part and parcel of this second round of this championship, and of course Fast Fuel's on board as well. We're looking at a possibility of a 4th big sponsor that'll be announced soon, and that'll be certainly a big change up for the way things are done here in the South African GT Racing Association. So Chop Sapuka had a big look at Michael, maybe gave himself a little bit of a scare coming out of the S's on the last pass, but he's bridged that gap again and he's right back onto the tailpiece of that McLaren. Into the pits. First of the Scribanti's coming in for a scheduled stop here. Looks like that's Aldo. Remember with the Scribanti boys, the older of the two, Aldo's gone with 45. The younger of the two has gone with 55 as their race numbers. So they've just chopped that up slightly and changed it up as well. But Aldo Scribanti into pit lane. I don't know if that's for a scheduled stop because he's not getting out of the car. So let's have a look and see if they get that all sorted out. I don't think that was a scheduled stop because they're just coming in for a checkup on that car. Oh no, they're going to make it a scheduled stop. They're going to refuel. They're going to refuel that car. So refuel going to be done. They've replicated the tyre change. It'll be on the inside wheel so that we don't have to worry about jacks and things coming through. Is this Sapuka coming in? It is. Chop Sapuka coming in now for the Into Africa and Stradale Motorsport Lamborghini. Let's have a look and see if we're going to see this. Is it going to be a driver change? Possibly they may have changed their strategy. Maybe they're going to leave Chops out for the entire race for race 1 and give Zolile the second race. That might be their strategy here from Stradale's point of view. He's not getting out the car, which means they're not going to do a driver change. So Chops will probably hang tight. And this might be a a bit of a strategy from him as well, to get him in and out before everybody else, and maybe make up some ground with some clean air on track, because he will go onto the circuit with nobody in front of him for a long time. He in fact goes ahead, just ahead of the two Bigfoot Express Freight cars, and into Potter's. Oh yeah, very lucky. Son Woodley just backed out of that one and giving Chop Sapuka a chance to get back on circuit. Aldo's back on track, he's down on the back straight, and onto the beach straight I should say, and so is Mikhail Patamba. So Mikhail Patamba now in the car of Kish Patamba, their number 17 Pablo Clark Ferrari. It's a 458 version of that car. We've got a 488 up the road in the hands of Marcel Angel. Leaders have just crossed the line and completed another lap. Equidistant gap there between Aranjis, Michael Stephen and Silvio Scrimanti, and Marcel Angel now, who of course will be promoted up to 4th place with the pit stop there from Chop Sapuka. So very tight stuff here between these guys. It's great to see the action that we've seen so far here from the South African GT Racing Association. For sure Patamba will still stay at the back of the field for now, but Aldo Scribanti and Son Moodley closing in on Colbert. I wonder if Colbert is thinking about a pit stop early on as well. Moodley certainly closed in. He did have a little bit of issues yesterday, did Andrew Colbert, in that car. They were battling a little bit with a bit of a misfire. It's a new car for him, so of course there will be a couple of niggles that have to be sorted out. But once that Lamborghini Huracan of Colbert's is sorted, we know the kind of pace that Andrew Colbert can find in a race car, and has taken on some of the mightiest cars in the country in his previous Porsche from Bigfoot Express Freight on numerous occasions. So Colbert crosses the line, he stays out, so does Son Moodley. Looked like they were going to think about a pit stop there, but maybe it's a little bit too soon for them. Charles Oranges must be thinking about a pit stop at some point as well. I'm not quite sure how that's going to be. The only time they can't come in, of course, is with 5 minutes to go. Scrimanti's got a problem. Aldo Scrimanti being rolled back into the pit box. And the rule is if they're going to do any work on the car, it has to be taken into the pit box. So any additional work other than the replicated tire change or refuel has to be done back in their pit box. So that's probably why they've pushed that car back in. It's a pity to lose him because he was going so well. And he'd come in for his scheduled stop. As I said, I don't know if it was a scheduled stop though for him. I would have expected him to stay out a bit longer. Chops, his thinking is definitely the way to go. So that's definitely an opportunity for him to come in. Looks like we've got an interview down in pit lane. Let's go down to Gary and pick up on Gary van der Spey with one of the drivers.
But we have one of the cars that have come in. It looks like the car's partially been pushed back into the pits. I'm going to see if I can get a microphone onto driver as he climbs out. That is Aldo Scribante. Bear with us, we'll try and get in there. Aldo, unfortunately coming and parking that's in the pits. What's the problem with the car?
Well, we've got a battery charge problem. We're suspecting a faulty alternator, something as simple as that.
It's such a pity. We wish you the best for the next one. So there we have it, guys. Unfortunately, the 45 of Aldo Scribante retiring from this race.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate that. Getting the heads up there from Aldo Scribante. Unfortunately, I don't have any cans on, so I'm not quite sure what was said there. But if you want to pick it up, of course. Looks like an alternator problem there. Thanks, Paul. Alternator problem there on that car. So that should be okay. It should be able to be fixed up. Good possibility that they'll have a couple of spares. If not in their stable, they'll certainly have next door at Strale. Look at this. This is, of course, Chop Sapuka now closing on Spies. And, of course, that's after his pit stop. So you can see Sapuka trying to make up the ground as much as possible to possibly get into the top 3 hunt again when the other guys jump into pit lane to do their scheduled stops. He's got to find a way through you on Spies if he can. That's big pressure. And Spies runs wide. Oh, hello. Watch for Sapuka around the outside of the X and of the S's. That is phenomenal. Chop Sapuka around the outside of the S's. There's not a lot of grip out there, I can tell you that much. And with the amount of construction that's happening just on the left-hand side of that shot, you'll also realize that there's probably a lot of dust on the circuit at that point too. So, nice move there from Chop Sapuka. Can't wait to get down here in about a year's time. We should be good to go with a brand new hotel complex built on the left-hand side of the exit of the S's. You can just see the construction just over the top of that shot. Watch them come through the S's there on the left-hand side. All of that sand and rubble is where they're busy with that construction at the moment. So definitely looking forward to that in the near future here at the East London Grand Prix circuit. It'll be a wonder for the circuit. It certainly will be an incredible effort for all the drivers to possibly support that initiative and stay there. Oranges now still stays at the front end though, and controlling things to just keep Michael Stephen at bay. What is Michael Stevens thinking though? That's what we need to take into account. Is he going to wait for Oranges to go in, or is he going to try something to maybe pass him with a pit stop strategy? That's what you've got to take in. There's a bit of a chess game that happens here amongst these drivers. And if you've got a chance to maybe overtake guys and you've got some clean air, or you can find that little special gap that allows you to get into pit lane, get back out with clean air, like Chops has tried to do. He had one car to negotiate once he got back on track. In fact, he had two. I beg your pardon. He had Colbert, which he got through relatively easily on, but he then had to get through on Spies because he saw the demise of his fellow Port Shepstener, or what are they now? Kwabecha, to get a chance to get ahead of those two cars. Now he's going to try and do the same thing here to get ahead of our leader. As you see that Gulf Racing colours back in the house with Stradale Motorsport. Good to have them on board as well as they go into the exit point of the S's. Behind that, it's Silvio Scribanti, who's ahead of Michael Stephen by the looks of things. I saw in that last shot. Try and get confirmation of that. I think Silvio might have got ahead of Michael Stephen. Now is Michael Stephen thinking about a little splash and dash pit stop to get him in and out as quickly as possible and then get ahead of those two cars. I'm sure his team are sitting in the background plotting where he could possibly do it. So we've got Gary down the pit lane.
Colbert's coming in his Lamborghini Hurricane Evo. Car goes up. They're changing the right front wheel. Andrew will stay in the car. Wheel goes on. As you can hear, the jack's going. Right, jacks are in. And the car's about to go down. And he will be off. Car's fired up. And off he goes. Right, that's Andrew Colbert's pit stop. As I say, he's in the Evo and in a slightly different car to actual GT3s.
Yeah, that's right, Gary. He's in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo, not in the Evo. The Evo, of course, is the GT3 car that Charles Oranges pilots. He's in the Trofeo car. So a slightly different version of the Lamborghini, but needless to say, still great to have this many bulls in the house and doing such a superb job out on circuit. So it's still Charles Oranges ahead of Silvio Scribanti, as I picked up on, and Michael Stephen down to third place now. So what is Michael Stevens thinking? What is he going to be doing to try and get ahead of the two drivers in front of him? Charles Oranges pushing hard, Silvio Scribanti doing a superb job there for second place. He's only 2.3 seconds down the road. Colbert has stayed now, or he's actually come back on track just behind Chop Sapuka. So hasn't lost too much ground there. It was actually not a bad plan there to get him in and get him out as when they did. So that little gap in the proceedings was a good spot for the Bigfoot Express Freight team to bring that Lambo in. Expect to see Sun Mudley going in almost instantaneously after that to try and get the Porsche's pit stop all sorted. There's your first four, and you can see just how equidistant they are. Look at that. Lamborghini Evo Hurricane GT3 ahead of the Hurricane of Silvio Scribanti. Behind that, the McLaren MP4, and then the 488 Ferrari of Marcel Angel. Two different versions of the Lamborghinis, 1 and 2, McLaren and the Ferrari. And of course we've got a couple of cars that are being touted to join the series by the time we get to Swartkops for the next round. Looking for about a 16-car grid by the time we get there, and a couple of extra Porsches, Ferraris, and maybe a couple of surprise manufacturers that could be there as well by the time we get to Swartkops in round 3. This is round 2, race 1.
Second place.
Chop Sapuka back up to 5th place. And it looks like he might have done a superb job in terms of the timing of getting in and out to give him that gap to possibly make up the positions he wanted to over into pit lane.
Right, yeah, we have
Stephen. Let's go down to Gary.
Just coming into the pits in his McLaren MP4 12C. Front wheel goes on, off, quick tire change. The car will drop, bounces down on the ground, and he's off. And that's his pit stop finished. Still waiting for the leader, Charlotte Renzies. He's got to still do his pit stop. Back to you guys.
That was a really quick stop there from Michael Stephen and the Ultimate Outlaws team. They got him in and out with the tire change and refuel, and he's back on circuit now. Just look at timing from them. So let's see if that's going to help him out. He should come back still ahead of Sapuka, or will he? So we'll have to wait and see, because it looks like there might be a little bit of chopping and chaining that's going to happen now between those top 3. Orangi, Scribanti and Angel, the top 3 on track, still have not come in to do their pit stops. Isak Spies still has to do his, and Sun Mudley still has to do his pit stop. Other than that, everybody else has done their sort of allotted pit stops that were required. So we'll wait and see whether or not they're going to have a chance now to use that pit stop strategy to the best that they can. Kishore Patamba piloting the 458 Ferrari now ahead of Michael Stephen. Michael Stephen going to try and get ahead now of the youngster. Shouldn't be too much of an issue for him, but Kishore will probably give him a little bit of a run for his money as they head up towards the top of the hill and towards Beacon Corner one more time. We go back down onto the beach straight. That is Isak Spies being closed down by San Mudley. San Mudley now also starting to close onto the back end of the second McLaren. In the background, the two Lamborghinis, 1 and 2 on the road. Arangis from Silvio Scribanti. Only 1.1 seconds on the last pass over the line. Looks like it could be less than a second now between them. Third place, Marcel Angel. Comfortable at the moment in the Autohaus Angel 488. And that Ferrari also an incredibly quick car and has had lots of time out on track in these type of events. Our endurance races, 4-hour endurance races and big endurance races at the Killarney International Raceway, and of course further down the coast at the Port Elizabeth Aldo Scribanti circuit as well. Coming onto the back straight and onto the beach straight now, Kishore Patamba. How far back is Michael? He's right there, so Mikhail Patamba, beg your pardon, not Kish. Kish is out the car now. It's Mikhail Patamba that's in the car. I wish they would change that on the timing, because that would certainly help us out. And just as a call out there, because when we do put it up on the screen, of course, it still says Kish in the car, but it's actually Mikhail Patamba in that car. So now as they come down onto the beach straight, that is Chop Sapuka. Into the pit stop, Charles Arangis.
Well, Joe, we have the
lead car. Silvio Scribanti takes the lead. So Arangis comes in for the schedule stop. Let's go to Gary.
Sponsored Lamborghini. Changing one rear tyre. Okay, car's down. They got the go signal and he's back out on pits. Back to you guys.
Oh, he's back out, but how's that smoke coming out of the car as he left the pit exit? A lot of smoke out of the car as he came out of there. So very good possibility there might be a little bit of issue there on the Lambo, or maybe there was just a bit of too much refuel. Silvio Scribanti now holds the lead of the race. Marcel Angel up to second. Michael Stevens into third. So if his pit stop strategy has worked, this could possibly see Michael Stevens go into the lead of the race. Second place, Marcel Angel coming out of the gate corner into the S's. The complex that goes through the karting circuit here at the East London Grand Prix circuit. There is Arangis. Michael Stephen behind him. Or is that? No, that's not Michael. Yeah, it is Michael. Michael Stephen ahead of Mikhail Patamba. So Arangis' teammates have got him sorted in terms of staying ahead of Michael Stephen. It didn't quite work out for Michael Stephen to redo that and get ahead of him. We've got 24 minutes of racing still to go. Mikhail Patamba now going to try and run with the back end, and Michael Stephen learn a few things from the master. He knows exactly what to do, and of course he also did all the balance of performance for the cars involved in this category. Beach straight for Silvio Scribanti and Marcel Angel, the top two. Are we going to see a possible change here for a pit stop coming for Silvio Scribanti and Marcel? Have they got a big enough margin to stay ahead of the two contenders behind them who would possibly take the lead if they don't get that pit stop strategy right? Ooh, a little mistake there from the Ferrari. Going into this, has just got the wrong line there. I don't know if there's enough time. I don't think they're going to have enough time there. They're going to have to try and open up a bigger margin if they want to try and stay ahead. Silvio might have enough time, but I don't think Marcel's got enough time to stay ahead of the charge of Charles Arangis and Michael Stephen. Chop Sapuka also starting to close down on Michael Stephen as well, and I can see his teammate up the road. Shane Steenkamp has joined us. He's invited Stijn van der Westhuizen and Warren Capozario.
Right, Joe, we have Silvio Scribanti just coming to the pit lane. He was in the lead after the pit stops, which is going to change the situation for him. And his Lamborghini, they're out chucking fuel in. As you can see on the top there, the fuel bowser is going in. They've changed one right rear tyre. And Lollipop turns over green. He's trying to get him to fire the car up. Car's fired up. And off he goes. At the same time, Sun Woodley also came into the pits to do his pit stop. Back to you guys.
Yeah, he certainly did, but it hasn't worked out there for Aldo Scribanti or for Silvio Scribanti. Silvio's dropped down to 6th place by the looks of things, or possibly 5th place as he comes through there. It's given possibility of Charles Arangis to retake the lead. Marcel Angel, who is sitting at the front of this race at the moment, he's got 23 seconds to play with. That's not enough to stay in front by the time he comes in for his pit stop. So we've got everybody that's done their pit stops bar Marcel Angel at the front of this one with 22 minutes of racing to go. Carmen Fisher's just joined us as well as Godfrey Rademacher. Thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks for the support. Appreciate that. Don't forget to like and share this to all your social media platforms that you've got. We're out on ILEB, we're on Up to 60 Seconds, we're on the Voice of Choice, and we're on the 2 South African Endurance Racing Series page and the South African GT Racing Association page. If you're watching us on YouTube, a big welcome to you as well. That's Isak Spies, second of the McLaren MP4s. There's the man behind the South African GT Racing Association as well there, piloting his McLaren. Currently sitting down in 6th place. Is the leader onto the, or possibly the leader once Marcel Angel decides to come in. I would assume take the lead back from Marcel Angel. But I don't know if Angel's got enough time to get in and do anything about them. Yeah, Peter Maloney, we're working on that. We've had a small issue with our camera 1 down at Potter's Pass. So as soon as that's back up and running, of course, we'll go to the Potter's Pass shot of them going through the fastest corner in the country. Silvio still piloting just ahead now of the Bigfoot Express Rate Porsche Sun Woodley. Those two coming into the pit lane at almost the same time. Down in 8th place. Mikel Batamba now up into the 9th spot ahead of Aldo Scribanti. He looks like he had to retire with some alternator issues. Second Lambo. Michael Stephen, Chop Sapuka, Mikel Batamba. Michael Stephen wanted to try and, there we go, we've got a reverse angle down into Potters, so at least we get some kind of action into Potters Pass. It's not the ideal one. We're going to try and get that camera 1 sorted out in between the gaps of racing that we've got. And we do have a small gap in proceedings after this because we've got the local historic one, which Ivan Newman will be handling here, live to the circuit and live to the FM channel around the track. My good friend Brendan Kelly will be back in for the second heat of the modifieds here from Border Motorsport Club. And then we'll be back on Mike later on for the second race of the SAGTRA series. And of course for the big one later on in the day, the Buffalo City 700. Angel is the only one who still has to pit. He's just crossed the line. I think he's trying to open up a bit of a gap so he can give himself some room to move if he has to stay in front. But I don't know if he's going to have enough time to make that pit stop in time to stay ahead of Charles Arangis. Arangis just crossed the line now. It's 16.2 seconds between them. So there's certainly not enough time for Marcel Angel to take the lead back if he decides to take it. He may have enough though to stay ahead of Michael Stephen and get second. Into gate corner comes the leader. Angel must be contemplating a pit stop at some point. Is he going to try and keep it up until the last possible moment as well? Because remember, they are not allowed to come in with 5 minutes to go, because the 5 minutes to go, the pit lane will be closed. And he's done that on a few occasions, being stuck at a South African Endurance Series race in pit lane when the pit lane closed with 5 minutes to go, and actually was not classified because of it. So it's highly unlikely that he will make a similar mistake to that again. Batamba goes into gate corner. They're looking to pick up on him into the S's. Pablo Clark I2 and Liqui Moly sponsored Ferrari 458. That car's still in very similar livery to what it ran at the Kyle Army 9 Hour 2 years ago. So you can see they've still got the 947 stickers on the windscreen. It was one of the media sponsors for that event. Colbert. And behind him, it's Isak Spies. We go back to one shot apart. It's just, a little dab on the brakes there from the Lambo. But it's a lift literally for these cars in there. They don't normally tap the brakes in there. That is the man in second place at the moment, possibly going to be changing things up. And of course, Charles Oranges at this point in time is certainly looking for a chance to get the lead back from Marcel Angel if he can. And in the background, a change up for Chop Sapuka. Sapuka ahead now of Michael Stephen and into third place. Good bit of directing there, Daryl. Picking up on that maneuver. After 60 seconds, team giving the action as Michael Stephen gets outgunned by his former teammate out of Terry Moss Racing, Chop Sapuka, who's making a welcome return back into South African motorsport here this weekend. South African GT Racing Association certainly going to be a lot richer with him behind the wheel of one of these cars. But has Michael Stephen got a little bit of a problem there? That extra bit of weight is certainly going to help him not do the best that he'd like to do. But he's certainly battling a bit compared to what we saw in the race weekend so far. So you can basically put Wayne Riddell in that car and he'll be good to go. It's like having a pillion in the car. Chop Sapuka with no ballast on him, so he won't be worried about that. But the success ballast, of course, all changes after this one. They do a reshuffle of those weight penalties to all the cars. Rangers will get an extra 10 kilos onto what he's carrying right now, because he's got 15, sorry. So he goes to 75. So Rangers will get an extra 15 kilos onto the car he's got right now, but as you can see, it's not really affecting him as badly as what it is Michael Stephen. Maybe it's just the way that they put that weight into the car as well. Chops will get 60 kilos. Well, that'll go to Zolile. Zolile will take that one. And Michael will drop a couple of kilos. He'll get 45 kilos taken off his car. So that'll be nice to see. Michael Stephen with a lot less. Silvio will lose a little bit of weight as well. He's down in 5th place at the moment. So that's what we're looking at this point in time with 15 minutes to go. I think it's going to be basically every man for himself, other than Marcel Angel, who's pushing hard to try and open up a bigger gap to allow him to come in and out and maybe not lose the lead. But not with a 10-second lead. No, 10 seconds is not enough. He'll probably have to try and settle for second and stay ahead of Chops. I think that's what his plan is. Spies and Colbert into gate. There is the leader in the background onto the beat straight again. I think Marcel will have to just take consolation that he's not going to be able to do anything about Charles Oranges, but he's certainly going to do something about Chops and Michael Stephen. So Marcel Angel right now leads out in the Autohaus Angel Pablo Clark Racing Ferrari 488. Charles Oranges in second place for Golf Racing. Shidale Motorsports Lamborghini Hurricane GT3. Chop Sapuka in third place for the Inter-Africa Mining Shidale Motorsports Lamborghini Hurricane. And it's Michael Stephen in the MP4 McLaren in 4th place, just ahead of Silvio Scrimanti. That, of course, is Mikel Patamba down in 9th place. He's Ferrari 458. He comes into gate corner now and then into the complex of S's. We're watching him later on in the day as well. He'll climb out of the Ferrari and into a Porsche for the South African Endurance Series. A busy day in the saddle for the young guy, but he's absolutely loving life down here. A little bit of issues on the brake for that one. If you are looking for the leaderboard, remember it is going out on ZA timing, so if you want to pick up on ZA timing, but I'll ask Paul as soon as he's able to get back into the studio here to give you a heads up as to how things are going from the top 10 board. Can give you the runnings at this point in time. Marcel Angel leads out ahead of Oranges. Chop Sapuka, Michael Stephen in 4th, Silvio Scrimanti in 6th. And 9 seconds is not enough to make that pit stop and get back inside the racetrack itself before anything changes up from their point of view. But Sun Moodley in 7th, Colbert in 8th, Mikel Patamba in 9th place. There's a shot of the Porsche going into Potters in the hands of Son Woodley. Aldo Scribenti unfortunately parked on the sideline and doing his pit box after a unscheduled retirement with some alternator issues. There goes Lamborghini Hurricane, the Super Trofeo car. I'll tell you something, there's no worries at all there for Andy Colbert for his first time out in anger in that car. He'll be suitably impressed, and of course with all the niggles being sorted out eventually, the car will certainly get better and better and a lot more competitive. Silvio's unfortunately just missed the gap there. Didn't quite work out for the time he got brought into pit lane to make up ground on the top 5. He now is probably settled for 5th place by the sounds of it. Angel's still on track. Up on the back of the Lambo. Lamborghini piloted by Andrew Colbert. Now down to 8.2 second gap between himself and Orange. There's the gap, you can see it on the V straight. That's not enough. Paul, if I can ask you just to pop up the timing there for me. You guys are asking on the screen just to see. There you go. On cue. That is how it currently stands in the top 10. The only possible change that's going to happen there, of course, is Angel on Oranges, or Oranges on Angel, and whether or not Chop Sapuka can get ahead as well. Lights flashing there from Michael Stephen coming down into the complex. One of the other drivers already there. He's on his way. Let's see whether or not he can maybe bridge a little bit of a gap there. See what happens in this one. But at this point in time, of course, we've got Angel, who has to still make a pit stop. And we've got 11 minutes of racing to go. So he's got to get in within the next lap or so. Otherwise, he's going to miss that window. Remember, the 5-minute window, that pit stop opportunity stops, and you get no chance of getting back on track because they close the pit lane. There's 5 minutes of this race to go. So hopefully Angel is going to realise that. Smith comes in. Smith is down and makes the change. He also kept it very late in the day. And Smith now has made his pit stop. Angel into pit lane by the looks of things. All the sounds of it. Marcel Angel, leader into the pit lane. We're going to shoot down and see if Gary's got any information on us. He's done his pit stop and goes straight back out. He'll probably come around about, he's come out just in 4th by the looks of things ahead of Silvio Scribenti. So the change up at the front now is Charles Orangi's leading out. It's Chop Sapuka on his debut into 2nd place. There he is, into gate corner and into the complex with 10 minutes to go. Michael Stephen coming into gate corner right now behind his teammate there, Isak Spies. Will have to settle for 3rd place with that additional 75 kilos, but he'll be thinking about the drop in weight. So about 45 kilos he's going to lose. We'll wait and see if that's the case though, and we'll give you those, of course, success ballasts as they go into race 2 later on in the day. Silvio Scribenti continues to circulate down in 5th place as he maybe got a little bit of a last-ditch effort that he can put in there to close in on Angel. Silvio's carrying additional weight as well, so it won't be easy to close down on the Ferrari depending on what the gap is. We'll get that gap, of course, as the Ferrari comes across the line. 9 minutes to go for this one. Charles, there's the gap. I don't think there's enough time though for Chop Sapuka to close down and maybe get ahead of Charles Oranges. There's not enough traffic to slow him down. And speaking of traffic, he's coming up on the back end of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo of Andrew Colbert. Mikel Patamba being closed down by Silvio Scribenti as Michael Stephen comes back into the complex. His teammate. Angel and Mudley. This is Patamba and Scribenti. And Mikel still staying ahead of Silvio. Make him work for it. Eventually have to give him some room. There's a little room down into the exit of the S's, and that's Scribenti with one less back marker to contend with. Nice move there from Colbert, opening up the door, giving a chance for his fellow Lamborghini driver to get past on him. Rangers now through on 8th place, Andrew Colbert. Bigfoot Express Freight Porsches usually, but of course a new car in that stable in the hands of Andrew Colbert. A couple of niggles to sort out, but it wouldn't be too bad. Once those niggles are sorted out, he's definitely going to be a man to watch out for in this category, in that Super Trofeo. Two McLarens in full flight down the beach straight into gate corner. Just even closing in on his teammate there because he is a lap down on him, so Specie will have to just possibly give way there to Michael if he has to. Another lap completed. 1 minute 20s with 7 minutes to go, probably about 3 or so laps to go in this one. And Ranjis now holds on to the lead of this one ahead of Chop Sapuka. Sapuka heads into Potters, there you can see him. He actually gave a little dab on the brakes there. Oh, is the Ferrari slowing here? It is. Marcel Angel definitely slow into the complex and out of the exit point. Son Moodley about to go around the outside of him. Marcel Angel's got a problem. Angel has got a problem on the Ferrari 488. And this will change things up. This is going to move Isak Spies into the top 5. Son Moody's just past him. He's pulled into the kart circuit. He's pulled off track and into the kart circuit out of harm's way, so he doesn't have to worry about a safety car being deployed. Good driving there from Marcel Angel. Good thinking from a man who's had a lot of experience both internationally and locally. He's an former world karting champion in his day as well. So he knows exactly where to get the car out of harm's way and not have to spoil the rest of the day for everybody else out on track. So good thinking there from Marcel Angel. But it is going to drop him out of contention and probably down into 9th place with 5 minutes to go. See the change up from Isak Spies and Michael Stevens' point of view as he crosses the line. It's a Ranges, it goes down to 1. Up onto the back. That's the beach straight with Son Moodley. He will also possibly move himself up a couple of positions into the top 6 there in the Bigfoot Express Freight Porsche. So Ranji's onto the beach straight for now. Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo. In first place ahead of the similar car but different livery, both out of the same team. Of course, it's going to be a 1-2 here for Strudalo Motorsport if they get it all right. Yellow flag's being waved down into Cochabana. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe there's a car somewhere in the complex that could be a problem. Double yellows down into Cochabana corner is a bit of a concern for me. I don't see any issues out of my window that I can pick up on, other than Marcel Angel, who's of course on the exit of the circuit and out of harm's way. So I'm not quite sure what those double yellow flags on the main straight as well. Looks like safety car being deployed. Yeah, safety car has been deployed. I don't see any action anywhere around the track though that requires a safety car. I've got Brendan Kelly going, what's going on as well. I don't see anything that could be a potential problem. And I mean, the first time we saw an issue, it was down in Cochabana. So it would have to be from Cochabana to the complex that there's a problem, but we can't pick it up on our cameras right now. And we've got a red flag. We've got a red flag. Wow. Okay. Red flag with 4 minutes to go. It means the race will be called. But certainly a problem that we did not expect and cannot see anywhere around the track. Well, Marco Steven and Silvio Scribanti coming across the line. That's the first 2 of 8. Cal Patumba is... There's Marcel Angel. That's not the problem car, though. I wonder if it's Chops. Is it possibly Chop Sapuka that's had a problem somewhere on track? Maybe he's got the car out of shape somewhere. I don't know if we can try and pick that up on some of our cameras. Let's tell the cameramen to have a look around and see. Tell them to look around and not just look at their cameras. There must be something in the complex. It's got to be in the complex. Or maybe it's down through the right-hander out of the S's. It's definitely Chops, because I can't spot him anywhere on track. Yeah, but the ambulance has gone past that point. And the safety car's gone past it as well. The safety car's already out into the bottom here. So I'm not quite sure where it is. The safety car, of course, is just pulling up and collecting the lead cars that are on track at this point in time. But it's the recovery vehicles we're looking to see where they get to. There's Chops, it's not Chops. So it looks like it might be into the entrance of Cochabana. I don't know if we've got any radio comms that we can try and pick up and see whose car it is, guys, if we can. Yeah, well, that's where the ambos stopped. The ambulance has stopped at Cochabana. So there's Michael Stephen, there's Silvio, there's Mikkel and Son. We know Chops has gone through already. The P7 from GWM in Haval, South Africa, and Haval Edenvale has gone through Cochabana. The Ambo is also starting to move away as well. A bit of a strange finish to this one, unfortunately, because we don't have any confirmation as to what's happening out on track. Orange is still on track. Who could it be? Oh, I don't even know who can be. I can't even guesstimate because I've gone through the entire list and I've seen everybody. Is it possibly Isak Spies? The ammo is coming into the complex. No, there's Spies there, so it can't be Spies. Spies has just gone across the line. Oh, he's on track, I've seen it. So I'm not quite sure who we're missing here or why we required a red flag.
I'm confirming that Alpha 1 can make its way back to control tower.
Driver's alright, he's busy driving it back.
Control, there was only 4 minutes left. Are you going to ride or are you calling it?
Okay, so it certainly sounds like whoever was involved in the incident is okay and has got back in his car and was able to drive it back. Alright, so it looks like they are going to call this one and bring the cars back into pit lane. I don't have a pit lane shot to confirm that though. Have we got a pit lane shot that we can confirm that the race is done, Daryl, if possible? I don't even know who to confirm was involved in the incident either. But we'll try and get confirmation of that as soon as we can. Charles Orangis, Zolila Ntlaka and Chop Sapuka sharing that car. Of course, will be second place with Chop Sapuka behind the wheel for race 1. Michael Stephen in third. Silvio Scaranti is in 4, ahead of Isak Spies, Sun Mudli, Colbert, Marcel Angel, Mikkel Patamba, and Aldo Scribanti. That's how it'll stand for the unofficial results. He said, now just waiting to find out exactly what went wrong. If you try and find that out, I'll get it to you via the next race. See exactly what went down. Apologies there for not getting the information to you, but unfortunately we are blind up here. Marcel Angel is not the problem car. You can see it parked at the inside there, being helped out by the P7 from Haval Edenvale. But that is not the problem car that caused the red flag. There's another car involved in an incident. Marcel Angel pulled off the track all on his own, was out of harm's way, and we saw him standing next to the car with no issues. While we try and work that out, we'll leave you with shots here. I'm going to shoot down and see if we get the interviews done as well, Paul. I'm going to just leave you with some picturesque shots here from our circuit. And as soon as we're downstairs and ready to go with the interviews, I'll be back on camera, down with our camera crew in pit lane.
Does anybody know? The top
I'm not sure, I'm not down there myself.
Yeah, they push it to take.
What the hell, bro? Wayne, will you get them here so we can kill the stream? Please, bud.
Yeah, next one. We ran out of fuel. Well, I think so. Going down to check now. Well, I've had Carl on the phone.
Thanks, Roy. Roy. I knew it was chops. Thanks, bye.
These are good for run and gun, that's about it. Only if you do the model.
This is the older one, the XS. Very good.
I'm not a big fan. Well, I must be honest, I'm not a big fan of the tripod.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Tripod.
There's a few of them standing. I'm also using that for statics.
Until the wind picks up, and then you're static, you're not static anymore. But I
Sorry, Papa walked again.
perfect.
Paris walk.
Right, so we are calling the Historics up for their first round of the day.
What are the conditions like out there? Slippery. Yeah, slippery. Well, I was at the time with News for 12 years. I got 12 years ago. And I fired performance here in the company as well. Honestly. My bench was my name. I'm loving working. But we realize now that we actually have to work effectively.
Right, Historics, can you make your way down pit lane, please? Historics, make your way to pit gate, please. The Historics on the far end of the circuit there, or pit lane. Please make your way up pit lane, thank you.
So, you guys work That's what worries me. I'm thinking
Miskien dat doet dan wel classics met een like van ja. Maar dat is die grid staan nog zo. Ja, hulle altyd nie met die
Great drone. This is a most amazing.
Right, Historics, make your way down pit lane, please. We are ready to run, Historics.
But it's just a little bit cheaper than the road it is. I got it from overseas because we can't use it here.
Okay, ja.
Well, folks, just an apology for the lack of information or sound coming through. Drivers, lots of them just involved in their cars, getting stuff sorted out for the next 1 hour endurance race in the SAGTRA series. So guys just involved with their cars, nobody available for interviews right now. So we're going to record the interviews and we'll play them before the start of the next 1 hour race.